Welcome, dear seekers of truth and wisdom. Today, we delve into a deeply transformative truth, one that touches the very essence of our emotional, spiritual, and karmic lives: marriage. In the teachings of Zen and Buddhism, marriage is not merely a social contract. It is not only the result of attraction, convenience, or cultural pressure. Rather, marriage is a mirror of karma, a karmic reflection of who we are, what we've cultivated, and the path we walk. So many ask, why did I marry this person? Some ask in joy, others in confusion, a few in pain. But from a Zen and Buddhist lens, the answer is not found in blame, nor in coincidence, but in conscious awareness of karma. Karma means action, intention, and the ripening of those actions across time, sometimes over many lifetimes. You marry not just a person, you marry a pattern. You marry the unresolved, you marry the lessons, and you marry the mirror that shows you the inner self. Each partner you attract in this lifetime is a continuation of unfinished karmic threads. Your partner may be the teacher you resisted, the support you denied, or the wound you must finally face. And yet marriage is not punishment. It is not fate set in stone. It is an opportunity, a mirror. A teacher, marriage teaches patience, letting go, and true presence. It challenges the ego and invites the soul to rise. It asks us, can you love even when it's hard? Can you see your own shadows when they reflect back through your partner? Only through conscious awareness, mindfulness, and spiritual practice can we turn marriage into a path of liberation rather than suffering. So, remember this, in the Buddhist understanding, karma is the sum of our intentional actions, not just from this lifetime, but from countless previous ones. It is not merely an abstract idea of cause and effect in a superficial sense. Rather, karma shapes the patterns, people, and experiences we attract. The person we marry is not someone we just happen to meet. That union is deeply karmic. It may come from love and goodness created in the past, or from a need to resolve past pain or injustice. Many spiritual teachers explain that certain people are destined to cross our paths because of unfinished karmic ties. This doesn't mean destiny is rigid, we still have choice. But the initial draw, the magnetic pull, the recurring theme in your relationships, especially marriage, those are karmically encoded. Whether it's a marriage that lasts a lifetime or one that ends in heartbreak, the spiritual significance lies not in its duration, but in its depth of impact. Through the lens of karma, your partner enters your life as a continuation of your spiritual narrative, not a new chapter, but a returning theme. Your partner is a mirror of your internal landscape. This is one of the most confronting truths in both Zen and psychological wisdom. Whatever you see, especially what disturbs you, is not just about them. It is a reflection of you, your beliefs, your repressed emotions, your unmet needs, and your unresolved wounds. In marriage, these reflections become intensified because of the constant proximity, emotional intimacy, and vulnerability required. This mirroring is not meant to punish, but to awaken. If your partner is critical, they may be mirroring your own inner critic. If they seem emotionally unavailable, they may be reflecting your own walls or fears of closeness. The moment you stop trying to fix the other person and start reflecting inward, true transformation begins. In Buddhism, this is the practice of self-inquiry and non-attachment, seeing the impermanent nature of personality and perception, and understanding that our reactions arise from our own minds. Human beings are creatures of habit, not just in behavior, but in energy. Until we resolve a lesson or heal a wound, we unconsciously attract similar circumstances and people who reflect that unfinished work. This is particularly true in romantic and marital relationships. You may find yourself drawn to partners who feel familiar, even if they are harmful, not because you like suffering, but because your subconscious is seeking resolution. This karmic repetition can be subtle or obvious. A person with abandonment issues might continuously attract emotionally unavailable partners. A person who fears vulnerability may be drawn to someone who dominates or suppresses them. These patterns are not random. They are invitations from the soul, from karma, to wake up and change the internal script. The lesson will keep returning in different forms until it is fully learned. In Buddhist terms, this is called samsara, the endless cycle of rebirth and repetition, until wisdom arises and liberation is found. 4. Marriage is a spiritual dojo, a place of practice in Zen. A dojo is not just a martial arts training hall, it's a sacred space where discipline, awareness, and spiritual refinement take place. Marriage, too, becomes a dojo of the heart. It challenges you not once, but every day. It exposes impatience, awakens compassion, triggers ego, and tests the depth of your mindfulness. This is why many monks and masters say that deep relationships are often more spiritually intense than solitary practice. Marriage invites you to practice right speech, mindful communication, right action, loving behavior, and right intention, non-attachment and compassion from the Eightfold Path. It is not always peaceful. It is not always beautiful, but it is real, and in its rawness, it offers the most fertile soil for ego death and soul growth. In this dojo, your partner is your sparring partner, your mirror, your companion, and sometimes your opponent. The friction is not the problem, your unconsciousness within it is. When you engage with love, awareness, and a willingness to grow, marriage becomes your path to spiritual evolution. Not all marriages are about romance or even happiness in the conventional sense. Sometimes you are karmically bound to a person due to a debt from a past life, a promise made, a life saved, a betrayal committed, or a duty left incomplete. These ties, unseen but powerful, pull two souls together not for pleasure, but for completion. Such relationships can be intense, emotionally complicated, and difficult to exit. One may feel trapped while the other feels obligated, but when viewed through Buddhist insight, this is not entrapment, it's karmic resolution. The key is to bring mindfulness to the relationship. What needs to be honored, what needs to be forgiven, what must be fulfilled before you can both move forward in peace. Sometimes the bond is not about completing a debt, but about offering spiritual support. One partner may uplift the other, serving as a temporary guide or protector. Once that purpose is complete, the relationship may naturally dissolve. The mistake is to view this as failure when in fact, it may be the most compassionate release of all. Karma in itself is not the problem, unconscious karma is. When we repeat cycles blindly, we remain in suffering. But once we bring awareness to our actions, emotions, and patterns, karma becomes dharma. It becomes the path, it becomes enlightenment in motion. In a marriage, when both partners become aware of their karmic ties and commit to conscious living, the relationship transforms. They no longer try to control each other. They begin to understand, they speak with mindfulness, they accept their shared karma not as a burden, but as a blessing and a training ground. Every conflict becomes a teacher. Every moment of love becomes a healing balm. Through meditation, reflection, spiritual dialogue, and emotional maturity, a marriage once rooted in pain can become a space of deep healing and freedom. This is the bodhisattva path within marriage, choosing to walk the journey not just for your own liberation, but for the liberation of your partner and all beings affected by your union. Modern culture teaches us to pursue the ideal partner, someone attractive, wealthy, emotionally perfect, endlessly kind, and passionately in love with us forever. But the spiritual path reveals something deeper. You do not attract the fantasy, you attract the lesson. The person you marry may not always make you feel good, but they will always make you feel, and in that feeling lies your growth. You may be called into a marriage that is emotionally triggering, or one that brings out your deepest shadows, or one that forces you to surrender control, pride, or fear. This does not mean the marriage is wrong. It means your soul is undergoing refinement. The partner you marry brings you the next necessary chapter in your evolution, not always joy, but always truth. And in Zen, truth is liberation, even if it is uncomfortable, even if it is painful, even if it asks you to break apart all illusions you held about love and yourself. So, instead of asking, "Why isn't my partner what I wanted?" ask, "What is this relationship trying to teach me?" That is where the true spiritual wisdom of marriage begins to unfold. So as you walk the path of marriage, whether you are already in one, seeking one, healing from one, or choosing solitude, remember this: marriage is not your destination. It is your mirror, your classroom, and sometimes your awakening bell. The one you marry is not here to complete you. They are here to reveal you, to stir what still sleeps within, to break the shell of ego so the lotus of your deeper self can bloom. Whether your union is joyful or challenging, brief or lifelong, it carries the sacred imprint of karma and the potential for liberation. Let your marriage not be a place of unconscious repetition, but a field of conscious evolution. Be kind, be aware, be still enough to learn, because in the end you don't just marry a person. You marry a path, and how you walk it determines not only your karma, but your freedom. Thank you.